Hey y'all, it's your girl TC, and I want to welcome you back to my YouTube channel. This is another episode of the segment on my YouTube called the Confessions of Hair Chronicles. So for those of you that are new here, it's basically a segment where I have guests on and we talk about their careers, their love life, their stories, whatever. And today I have my second guest who is also so dear special to me. He's my bro, he's my homie, everything all in one, and the co-founder of On the Radar Records, John Nurse.
Big clap.
And thank you for agreeing to come on the show. I feel like we have a lot of interesting things to talk about today. But before we get started, I want you to let the people know who you are. Because I'm sure there's people who are like, who's John Nurse? Who was that guy?
Right? Ridiculous. How they don't know.
Let them know you're
That's
that guy. Like, let the people know.
For the people who don't know, I'm John Nurse, co-founder of On the Radar Records. I run the label side of On the Radar. On the other side, I do brand partnerships and artist relations, so helping bring artists up as well.
Okay, dope. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot on your back when you play. Jeez, how you doing?
Being cut too, yeah.
I love that. Yes, right, your coin. Okay, so we're just gonna get right into it, and I feel like we've seen each other in a lot of eras. Like, I've known you basically for damn near 2 decades.
Yeah, it's crazy,
and I was
right?
thinking about that, like, wow, that's a long ass time. I can't believe, like, my first year of college was 20 years ago.
That was 20,
minus
28,
3 years,
right?
in 2008, yeah. So, 2028 would make 2 decades. So, I'm like, damn, I know this nigga for that. I'm the older one for that one? God damn. So, I just want to get into, I feel like we had an interesting start. So, I want to, like, just get everyone familiar with our dynamic, how we know each other, and things like that. So, we both attended what is now called Daemen University, Daemen College.
I thought it was college. University?
No, but I'm just saying, I just want to be politically correct. Because,
That's what
it's
it's
a
called.
university now. They stepped their game up. And he's a year older than me. So when I was a freshman, he was a sophomore. Yeah, so let's talk about that life and the Buffalo life. How do we, DIE.
DIE. The
Illest Entertainment, yeah. So we both was on a party promotion group in college. It's like not everybody, because when I joined DIE, it was only a couple of lit party promotion groups, and we were like the top. Not to brag, but we was like one of the tops, and if not one of the originals, at least for the college party scene. And it was called the Illest Entertainment. Shout out to DJ Illmatic. This was his group, and John and another guy. He actually was the reason why I came on, but John was a part of that group as a promotion, right? Promotion, party promoting, and you kind of left. I was like halfway, like we didn't even finish the year off yet, and you kind of left the group and you started your own SRK Sycomatic Royalty Crew.
Yep.
All right, let's get into that, because not gonna lie, I always thought that was a complicated ass name. Like,
me too.
Sycomatic Royalty Crew. Like, where did that come from? And I just want to give everybody kind of a little bit of context about like your roots and stuff like that.
I mean, if we're gonna say that, I don't even know where to start. We did meet at DIE. I was there my freshman year. That was 2007.
Got it.
You came in 2008, and then it was 3 of y'all that came in. You, Kiki, and Tiara. Y'all was like the girls that
the
came.
Illest mommies.
The illest mommies.
It was not at us. When I tell you, we was like,
what y'all call yourselves?
We didn't even call ourselves that. I think Lowell or somebody gave us that. Like, we were like 3 of the new girls in the group, and we was called the Illest Mommies. And everybody, for some reason, was so mad at that. Like, that's one thing I remember. Like, we got a lot of hate for that. Like, cause I don't know, but it was something that we just it was an addition.
I feel like every group had like a segment
like
of the girls.
girls,
yeah, like
right?
Cuts Cuties and
exactly
the first ladies for Crown.
Right, and it's crazy thing that it wasn't even from the other women that was in the group, because you had Marche, you had Jules, Lima, you know, it wasn't even from them. It was like the outside people that was like giving us a little bit of flack, and I'm like, what is this all about? But whatever. So yeah, so that's how
Buffalo Park Home was like gangbanging. I ain't
you
gonna hold.
No, for real. So it's like, okay, you branched off and you formed SRK, and then, you know, I feel like I was kind of mad. I'm not even gonna lie.
Everybody's mad.
I was so mad because when I tell you, we was like dominating the party scene. Like, we've had one of the most famous parties in Buffalo in the college scene called Reggae versus Soca.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys are not familiar with upstate in the Buffalo region, it's kind of like a down south. It's kind of like a north down south, if I'm explaining it correctly.
That's
so
reggae
and soca is kind of like, they'll know like the Sean Pauls and the Beanie Mans and the Elephant Man, but they wouldn't know like the Bujoos, you know, stuff like that, like the real, like, you know, like they'll know Mr. Vegas as well, because, you know, but them as a people, like, they didn't know, like, they only knew what was like mainstream. So like Give Me the Light and Get Busy and things like that. So we had this party because it was a lot of people from New York City that was upstate, and our school, whether it was our school, I'm leaving this off, sorry y'all. Our school, we had Buffalo State, and we also had University of Buffalo, aka UB. So it was a lot of people from New York City that came from the Caribbean, that came from Africa, that just was, you know, just knew the culture. So we had this big party like once a year, and it was massive. Like, people would travel far and wide just to come to this, and it was lit. Okay, so, you know, I felt like we had a thing going, and then you just left us and you formed your thing.
Yeah,
you formed your group, which was SRK, and you did it with a lot of the people that you came from Westinghouse with.
Yeah,
because you went to he went to high school in Westinghouse, and you formed that group, and you recruited some of your partners and your friends and stuff like that.
Well,
what made you do that move? Like,
I would say I've always been the type. Well, my father always taught me, if you feel like you ain't getting what you deserve, go do your own thing. Like,
I love that.
He's very much like, my mother was the one that had the structure as a 9 to 5, you know, teacher, art therapist. He was the one that always was entrepreneurial, real type, always like didn't want to have a boss. He like, and then when I was with DIE, I felt like I was getting my just due. I felt like, all right, outside people knew me, but inside the actual format, you know what I mean, I wasn't getting paid enough. I was getting looked over. You know what I mean? They would add people on, like, and I'm like, where does this guy come from? How he putting in money and I ain't putting no money yet.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna sit around here asking and waiting.
You try to be, you kind of got little niggas, like.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, but.
Yeah, and I'm like, y'all got me fucked up.
And you went for what you
got me
know
fucked
was worth.
up.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. All
so
right.
I'm gonna go do my own thing, because that's how I'm raised.
Yeah.
If you gonna give me what I want, I'm gonna raise hell. And you gonna feel it. Cause freaking and then I started SRK.
Right.
And you're right, it is a long name.
Where did that name come from? Like, did you just make it up? Was it something that you always had in your back pocket?
Cause you know my cousin Drew.
Yes, love him.
We partnered in a skate crew here in Brooklyn. We have a partner skate crew in Brooklyn. And SRK was originally a skate crew. But we would go back and forth on the name, because I wanted Royalty Crew, he wanted Sycamatic Crew. So the compromise
was putting it together. Okay, I love that.
I hated it, because I can't imagine writing this shit every time I say it.
Right, because Sycamatic, I'm like, where is Sycamatic? But
that
it
makes
sense because it was a skating group first. All right, let's get into that too really quick, because I knew John when I first knew John. He was the guy that had the dunks and the DCs and the hoodies with the zip that go all the way to the hood, and he had the chains on his pants. And I feel like a lot of that style is kind of coming out now, but you've been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like now you kind of switched to like, now. I'm saying though, like, and this is not in this isn't a great way, like, no offense at all, but you was weird before it became a trend. You know what I'm saying? Because it was kind of like, dang, John a little weird, like, he don't really talk, or he quiet, or he just skater. You was walking around college with a skateboard, and I ain't seen nobody do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you had that vibe, and it worked for you. Yeah. And now you kind of like the sex symbol, like your whole demeanor, your whole everything just changed. You know what I'm saying?
Keep going.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, like I said, we seen each other through many different eras. Even me in college, I was a little wild girl, but we ain't gonna get into that because it's about you, right? But Right, so it's SRK, that's how it came about.
It was a skate crew. Yeah, because I mean, we used to skate.
At
first, it's funny because it started around that Lupe Fiasco phase.
Yeah.
Where everybody thought they could skate at that. Everybody kicking, pushing. And on the block, we used to live over here on
Crown Heights.
Not even Crown Heights, it was in the style. We used to hang on the style on Macon and Stuyvesant.
Okay.
You know what I mean? With the hood, where all the gangsters be at. But we used to play football on the street. But some of them actually could skate. They the ones that taught me how to do the tricks and whatnot.
Oh wow, I love that.
So I'm like, oh shit. So we just formed like a few bloods here, a few homies from up the block there, and formed a little skate crew.
Oh wow.
And that's where it really started. I'm
wow,
okay,
that's dope. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, wait, the DC this, the crew that, and the skate crew supposed to be called Royalty Crew. So the fact that crew was a skate brand, it just helped out.
It just helped out.
You was the one with the Sigmatic. I'm like, all right.
Like I get it. He was trying to say like I was sick, but the Sigmatic, Illmatic. You know, I don't know if he was a Nas fan, but the Matic part just reminded me of that.
But when I branched out, it made sense to turn the skate crew into a bigger, build a brand.
Right.
I just knew it was going to be a problem because, hey, that Sigmatic, I just branched off from Illmatic. I'm like, oh, they're not going to like that.
Oh.
They're not going to like that. Oh, it's not even my fault.
He stole my whole flow. Not even to put the put in there, but yeah, wow, that's crazy. Okay, so let's get to now you being in Buffalo and branching off, and just doing your own thing, because I feel like the same thing happened to you. You had people who you had in your group who branched off and did their own thing, and yeah. So getting back into SRK, you had your group, and I feel like you guys were throwing successful parties. Now you're building a name for yourself, and I've attended a few of those parties. So like I said, all of my friends, roommates, they were a part of your crew as well. And then kind of the same thing happened. Like it kind of like some people kind of branched off and formed their own promotion group, party promoter group. So how did that whole thing happen? Like, did you feel betrayed? How was that? Not even betrayed, but I feel like, some people probably feel like, you know what, like,
it was just,
I want my own thing. I feel like everybody gets to a point where they feel like
they want their own thing.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, like, how did you feel? Like, was it like, because I know everybody was still even cool after that, but
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So,
how
was that with you building that brand and,
I felt, building a brand, I'll say this to anybody, building a brand itself is tough. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why I took the something already established in Brooklyn where the homies knew and brought it with me as opposed to building a whole new brand. So I'm like, all right, at least I got some type of brand identity I could build on with friends and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And you being a boss of such, you try to protect people from certain things, and you do certain things to I try to give everybody opportunity to build inside the brand, but also protect them at the same time. Because one, you'll say this, like you said, there's a lot of different crews that was in Buffalo. I seen a lot of them come and go. And then that first year, it's like friends. Like you might have your little friends here that you start off with, but I promise you, them friends you got by your junior year won't be your friends, but they done moved on.
Change.
So I seen plenty of crews come and go. I seen them either internal beef over girls, money, this, that, and third. So, you know what I mean? It just got to a point where people had big ideas, right? And I'm all for a big idea as long as you can execute it. Just know, when you have that big idea, it costs money.
Right?
And anytime you building a brand or investing in something, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
The thing about doing business is you're going to make that gamble, but you have the ability to control the outcome in a sense. You know what I mean? So to throw all the money in one pot and not have a backup plan or not kind of delegate the overhead, and you're not the one putting bread in it, is a big thing for me.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
I
so
understand.
if I'm the one financially putting up a majority, if not all the money, right? And you come with me to a big idea, and I say, all right, bet. And then you come to me and say, oh, I don't got this bread. We need you to bankroll the whole thing. I'm gonna start downsizing now.
No, absolutely.
All right. Certain people didn't like that. Certain people felt like, all right, you stepping on my toes every time I try to do this, that, third. what I'm trying to do is protect you. What I'm trying to do is protect this company. And what I'm trying to do is make sure we can grow and build in a healthy way.
Right.
Like, you either understand that or you don't. And some people didn't understand that. Respectfully so. So I'm like, all right.
Right. And it's always respectfully. I just like, I was on the outskirts, but I had, like I said, all my friends.
Yeah.
We had Taja, Peaches, Kimmy, Mark, everybody was in there. And it was like us three, we was kind of in a different group. So it was like, everybody heard things about each group, but it's like, I never knew, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I just seen stuff and they kind of felt like, oh, you in the other group, we friends, but you on another church. I'm not letting y'all into what's going on. Like, I'll be all hanging out. I got a group calling. They coming back from meetings and niggas just, I'm like, damn, it's like that. Like, I don't be getting no little tea. Like, I can't sip on a little peppermint tea. Like, nothing.
To that, it was like, the niggas started beefing
internally.
internally. Yeah, internally.
I showed loyalty. I loved it.
For me, it was never that deep. I had my discussions with DIE that was for me and them, which we got past as we got older.
Love it.
Right, but I never, I think people were just so loyal to us, especially Taja.
Rest in peace to my girl. Love her. Oh my God.
Like, she all right, John got a problem, I got a problem too.
Exactly. That's how she is, right? Oh my gosh, yeah.
I fuck with it, but I don't want you inheriting my beef, because now it's turned into something weird between everybody else, and it don't gotta be like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is.
So like I said, I just try to get a little, understanding. Because like I said, I was on the outskirts, didn't really know, but I just know that it was just some members of the group that branched off. And I'm like, what happened? It's like, hey.
What happened?
Because also, too, it was beef between us two, too. I don't know if you remember, but DIE and SRK.
I remember that one more than I remember the other one, honestly. Because that one that mattered to me.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, like, hold on now. You know what I'm saying?
What's funny?
It was just like a rivalry, and I get it, because, it's two party promotions. It's one person, the head, who came from this one.
Yeah.
So it was already that type of tension. And then it was kind of like, he's like, oh, y'all parties ain't supposed to happen like that, whatever, ha, 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 whatever. But then, y'all started to grow and prove this wrong. And then by that time, we kind of like slipped out. We was like, all right, yeah, we off this DRE kind of just vanished, died out.
Yeah.
Which is like, we going with the time. So it's like you guys kind of reigned supreme along with some other groups, that started to form and stuff like that.
I would say it's funny because you got your, like you said, you got your errors, but you also got your promises. Like, I was told I was going to be able to part of the team that ran DIE, and it didn't feel that way. So that's why I left.
Right.
Right? So when it came to me starting my own thing, even our first party was not successful. Our first party was with DIE in Canada. I don't know how L told me to do something in Canada, but that flopped. I'm like, okay. And then
I didn't go to that one, but
a lot of people couldn't make it to that one because in Canada.
Even though it was like, it's kind of like going from here to Jersey, but it's like, I'm not going.
A lot of people didn't go. So I'm like, a few people showed up. I'm like, all right, I don't know how you let me talk to me. I'm like, she trying to set me up or what? I'm like, all right.
Side eye.
So the second one,
side eye. Right.
I did on my own, and that was successful. But even then, like, certain people put money in, but they couldn't put the whole thing in. And I still broke the money down evenly because I want you to feel like, all right, you got this is how we can make money. I want you to understand.
Right, you wanted to basically give incentive.
Yeah, and I didn't have to.
Right.
But my biggest thing was, if you don't understand that I'm trying to protect you because we put this money in, it's a gamble, especially in Buffalo. It could snow, it could rain. When I want you to put money in, I want you to make sure it's a guaranteed thing. We got enough time out to promote. All right, the sun's going to be out. The forecast is good. There's no party on the next day. Everybody's going to be able to walk away with something. Okay? A lot of people didn't understand that. So I'm like, all right, if you don't understand that, if you want to go do your own thing, go do your own thing. So that way you can see what it feels like. You can see what it feels like to be successful. You can see what it feels like to take an L. You can see what it feels like to have to put the whole thing together and have to carry other people. Because right now you're complaining and you only got to worry about yourself. You got to worry about others.
Right, being that head.
Being that head, heavy. What they say? Heavy is the head that wear the crown.
Yeah.
There you
put
go.
That crown on, because Lord knows it's heavy, child.
Put the crown on, and then come back to me.
Right.
And then come to
but yeah, I love it. So.
But I would say to go off what you were saying, the transition period. It's funny because niggas pissed me off too. I was actually on my way out of party morning. I was about to leave it all behind and leave it to those people that you was talking about. My partner, right? I'm gonna leave it to them, and the person I was with at the time. I'm going like, it's a machine that's running itself. I'm about to go do some other things, which actually came from a conversation I was having with Taja. And you know what I mean? As long as everybody knows how to make money, I'll still put my money up for whatever y'all got going on. Because I was out of college at that point. For real, I was with. Yeah, I was done with college. I graduated in 2011. I was on my way to moving on to other things. But niggas got such an attitude, it pissed me off the way they transition. The fact they transition, the way you transition. They're like, oh, y'all don't remember who the fuck King is.
I remember it seeing like photo shoots in classrooms and niggas had shirts, and I was like, oh, I just didn't like it because I ain't put my business out there, but you know the drama that was with that.
I know you done fucked a few of my parties. Yeah. Fuck everybody.
Listen, that's a tangent we ain't about to go on. That's a story for another day, okay? But yeah.
But like, because of that, like, y'all don't disrespect the king.
Yeah, but
let me stick around for a little bit longer. Hold on.
See how this turned out. Right? But you know what it was? Like, if you look about it, we all was so young, and looking back, I'm just commending everybody. Like, we were like not even scratching, well, at least me, not even 20. We were still young, and what was it, 2021? You was 20 in 2011.
21, 22?
Right,
21,
so some people were even younger than that. Some people were my age, 1 year older than me.
Yeah.
So, it was like we were still young trying to be the boss and trying to work things out. So, of course, it'll be, a few stepping on toes because this is our first time, so I'm just looking back like, wow, like everybody was kind of doing their own thing.
That's what it
whether
is.
or not, you know what I'm saying?
It's
like everybody wants that, you know what I'm saying?
It's like, you talk about the span of 4 to 5 years at that time. Like, everybody had their own era. Like, a lot of people say, yo, I remember all your parties from college. If I go back to Buffalo, I remember all your parties from college. Like, you were really one of the biggest promoters out there. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's funny, because I feel you.
But I didn't feel like that at the moment.
At the moment, I didn't feel like that. And then on top of that, when I came in, it was Crown, DIE, Class Entertainment. That's the era I remember.
Right.
And then it was me. And I'm like, I guess
it
looking back.
It was people before you that kind of paved the way. I remember Class. I remember Crown. And they had a few parties. I remember at like one hotel, but I felt like it kind of faded out.
Everybody figured out. And
they still had the tables, but they wasn't really doing parties.
Right.
And then also the party scene in Buffalo, they was hating because
it changed. It
changed, but yeah, that's a big thing. A lot of people don't know. Upstate ain't no hoe. Excuse me, it ain't easy up there. Like we were like, and the crazy thing is like a lot of people think that I went to a black school.
Yeah, I went
to a private institution that was a PWI, and they was racist to hell. Okay, it was just that we just had a group. We were probably like less than 2%.
The black people, right?
On campus, yeah. Well, these were like our school. Like people think of Buffalo. When I say I went to school in Buffalo, let me correct.
Everybody say you went to Buff State.
Right. Everybody think I went to Buff State or UB, but no, actually, my school was in a town called Amherst, which was a neighboring town from Buffalo. I'm not claiming Amherst because Amherst was damn near racist, okay? Like racist.
And nobody knows it.
No, nobody knows it, but we shared the same area code as Buffalo, which is 716. It's kind of like Queens and Valley Stream. You ain't gonna say it's Long Island. You gonna say it's Queens.
Valley Stream,
you know what I'm saying? Like, because some parts of Valley Stream is Queens, some parts of it is Long Island, right? Yeah. So it's literally like that, just to give you all some context. But to get back to this, to the convo, the party scene got really racist. A lot of clubs was shutting down. Like one of the main ones was Town Ballroom, and then it was just like little clubs that was just popping up, and they restricted clothing. So it was like that was actually why, and I see this a lot now on the internet, but it's like people used to go to school as business casual, but it's because the clubs we was having these parties that they didn't want you to wear sneakers, they didn't want you to wear hats, they didn't want you to wear sweats. You had to go in there looking professional. So that's, I think, well, I know for Buffalo, that's where that kind of happened.
Yeah,
it wasn't just because we wanted to, because on campus and regularly, I was wearing regular clothes to the parties. It was a lot of restrictions on our attire.
You had to dress up to a certain, and they started, like you said, closing down the clubs, but they had a certain, before it was you could be downtown, but now it's like, all right, you gotta be 21 up, to be downtown.
Yes, it was a lot of restriction that was hitting everybody.
You had to hit the clothing, like you said. Like, I remember AJ had like some of the tightest jeans on in my life, and they told me he couldn't come inside the club. I'm like,
yeah, it was just crazy. So it was like, you want me to come in here with some khakis and
and some dress
pants, like it was just crazy. But then you look to your left, or you looked at the other establishment, and these white boys was having on Timbs,
whatever they wanted,
their fitteds or their caps. So
and you'd be like, yo, they don't give a rat's ass.
Right, exactly. So I feel like that definitely contributed to like a lot of people
transitioning.
Yeah, transitioning, and them not basically having a longer run than.
Well, I think that's why our run was so long too, because I always try to stay ahead of that. Like when you hear certain rumbling, I'm like, all right, well the club downtown is gonna be a wrap. We got to hit Main Street. That's why I started looking for stuff on Main Street or in Allen Street, like just try to. You had to go far. We went to North Carolina. What that shit? Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls.
Yeah, I had to take buses to Niagara Falls. I'm like, God damn, these trying.
I remember one of y'all. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I remember one of your famous parties was when y'all had Jewels.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but looking back from my memory, I feel like that's what set y'all off. Like that's what kind of blew y'all. What is called like Limitless. The crazy thing that I don't know, it was a party.
I forgot what I was talking about. That was out in Williamsburg. That shit was deep.
I'm about to say, like, it was actually at like a venue that nobody kind of did. It was kind of out the way, but people still showed up and it was lit. You know what I'm saying?
Club Illusions or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think it was Illusions. I'm like, I'm like Limitless. It was something else. Yeah. But I remember that club, and I think that's kind of what like set y'all off, like when Jewels came.
I get it. Everybody got their different joints. Mm-hmm. I would say people be telling me about parties I can't even remember at this point. I ain't gonna hold you. I'd be like, you remember when y'all did this? I'm like, maybe show me on Facebook. I could, but I don't really.
Right. I don't really remember. All right.
It was a lot, but that one I do remember. Remember that one because that one was the first time we was at that club like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, but I definitely remember that. Like, looking back, I feel like, oh my God, that was some of the best years of my life. And I remember my mother. She used to be like, oh, you up there partying? And I'm like, I'm doing work. Like, one thing about me, like, I would party on the weekends, but I would make sure my work is done. Like, people think that because I didn't graduate, it was because of that. But no, my grades were great. I left school because of this person and because I had got into it with my college administrator, like, my thing. Like, you know, what's her name?
Cool.
Dr.
You got into
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I'm getting into that. Let's break this down a little bit, okay? All right. I was an education major, right? I minored in business, but I did kind of drop the minor early on. Boom. I was one of the only, because it was Nikita before me who was in the education department. It was also Joda Lee. It was them two. When I got in, they left, so it was just only me. And then when I got in, Keno came after me. So we were the only two black people, students, in the whole department. And then I had one black teacher, which was Dr. who happened to also be my college advisor, okay?
Okay.
Let me get into it, because this is the real story. I've never told this. So I say I never graduated, blah, blah, blah. People think it's because it's... she's just part of the reason, but she's not all of the reason, okay? So, I was doing great. I was actually in my last year of student teaching. I was going into the schools, making my lesson plans, and that same year, technically was supposed to be my last year, I had my same college advisor as a regular elective. So she was a teacher as a regular elective, right? So had her as class, and now I'm also captain of the step team. I was also big on the step team in Buffalo, and I had all of my peers in the class because I think she did it was a class about like Black history, like you know. So we was happy. It was all the black kids, you know. We get in a class about like Black history and stuff like that. And as a teacher, as a professor, she just wasn't great. It'll be a lot of the times where the students will be correcting her. She would say things that just did not make sense, you know. And it's all of us. It's like, it's just the first time that all of us, people on the step team, people on the basketball team, we all had the same class. So it was a bunch of buffoonery going on in the class. And but she looked to me as like I could stop this. You know what I'm saying? Like I could basically make everybody pay attention and listen. You know what I'm saying? Because she even like, had these looks, and I feel like our dynamic, mind you, I had this lady as a college advisor since freshman year. We never had issues. Right. So now when I'm in the class, there was sometimes I would like try to hush people up, or sometimes I'll be like, that don't make sense, So I think at the times where I had challenged her, she didn't like that. And I feel like she took it out on me. And when we got back into our space of the education department, and it was basically one of the lesson plans, to cut the story short, one of the lesson plans, she claimed I didn't turn in. She claimed I didn't turn in, and mind you, I used to kind of ride dirty. I used to not save certain stuff because, like I said, I'm partying on the weekend. I'm having my social life.
Save your papers and whatnot.
Yeah, but what? Not all the time though. Just certain times, like when it's like I'm either with my girl. I have step practice. We out, we party, we shopping, we going food shopping. People hanging over, people coming visiting. Like it was sometimes a lot. So all my stuff I didn't freaking save, and this was one thing I didn't save.
Oh, you would definitely ride it dirty.
Because it was like, nigga, like, oh shit, my lesson plan is due tomorrow. Let me just do this. Blah, 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 blah. Turn it in. girl didn't have even the proof to even show her, but I know all of a sudden she couldn't find my lesson plan, and I got a C- in the class. And when you have classes in your major, you can't get below a C.
Yeah.
So it's like, you gave me a C- on purpose, right? So
you did everything else besides
everything, right? So it's like,
so how does that equate to
right,
C-?
Exactly. My point, it didn't make sense. When I tell you, I went to the dean, I tried to fight her off. Nothing. And I'm like, I'm not about to do this class again. I did so much work. I had so much great students. Like, I was doing really good, and she pissed me off. And I'm like, okay, girl. And my pride was big. People think I had to really work on my pride and my ego, but my pride is big. I'm like, I'd rather fail than to make you see me take this class over. And
she's gonna be the same one in the class anyway.
Yeah, and exactly my point. And so that was really it. Along with the story of me and my ex. You know, I'm like, I just can't go back to that school. They tripping on the academic side. I'm about to kill somebody, and I was already on
academic probation.
No, not even academic. I went on academic probation because of this, but I was already on what's the other probation?
Probation?
No, like for your actions, disciplinary probation. I was already on that my freshman year, so I got 2 strikes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was
about to go fuck around my third one.
I wasn't even trying. So, all right, let's get back in. But that was my little story of why I didn't graduate. My ex relationship.
That's funny. Y'all got the exclusive right
here. Mind you, everybody loves her because she's an AKA, and I'm like, man.
I was partying so hard. My mama came with the graduation talking about
I was so good in the education. Not that I say so good, but I was really trying my hardest. It was so hard, especially the
education is hard.
Education is hard.
Education is hard.
When I tell you, mind you, I've been through so much in the education department. Freshman year, 2 of my cousins passed like within a week. I had to leave school, get incomplete, right? My teacher, they felt so bad for me that they let me do the lesson. Instead of taking the class over the next year, they let me come back in the fall and do it. Mind you, I didn't study, I didn't practice. I did a whole lesson plan, boom, got an A. In 2 classes. You know what I'm saying? So that's to tell you.
Don't let the place no joke. Don't
you know what, yes, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that to tell you, like, my final paper and one of them was a lesson plan. Like, I took it incomplete, came back, got my grade, boom. And then on top of that, it was just a lot. So I'm like, I done went through a lot, especially with being black and being amongst all these Caucasian girls who's kind of like the teacher's pet and doing the extra work and the extra mile, and I'm just trying to keep up. And then my sophomore year now, I got called in because somebody plagiarized my paper. So when I tell you,
somebody plagiarized your paper?
Somebody plagiarized my paper. Somebody was going into the education department. And, you know, it was one of the finals I basically took, and I got a good grade on. So I'm like, you know, I did my last essay on Piaget and all of his theories. So I'm like, you know what? Here, you could look and see just to see the vibe. Why the person put in my whole paper?
Like word for word?
Word for freaking word. Okay? I got called in to the same teacher who I had the thing before. It was like, hey, this is what's going on. And I'm like, mind you,
But you handed yours in first, though, no?
Yes, I handed in mine first, but the person didn't know that the teachers could go in and put the paper in and see if it's plagiarized or not, right? So, child, I had to swindle myself out of, like, I don't know this person from a hole in the wall, you know, and she trusted me because I was so good in her class.
I ain't gonna lie, they tried that with me my senior year
I was shitting bricks. Like, my ass was on fire because I was so scared. So it was like, I done been through so much in this education department just for me to get to Dr. A black lady, and it's like, what? Oh my God! So yeah, all right, let's reel it back.
That's funny. They do that.
Let's reel it back in, okay? So that's how people say college is college. I'm like, man, I don't care. I found my plan B and I'm good. But shout out to all my girls that got their degrees, okay? All right, let's get back. To get off basically the Buffalo part of your story, I want to end it with one of the biggest things that maybe in that moment you didn't even know was going to be as big as it was, right?
Facts.
Okay, right? So was having Drake perform for the first time in the United States of America at our Springfest. Like, and you was a part of that.
You said United States of America. I think about that. Like, yeah, I guess so.
USA. I could have said USA, but you know, like, I didn't want to say America because that's still North America. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
yeah, geography heard you.
Right, you know what I'm saying? I know my little way around the globe. All right, so, you know, Drake performed at our Springfest. And before I let you take it away, I just wanted to just give them context of how it was. Because you're going to get it from but me being an onlooker and not even in what y'all was doing, I'm going to just say my little doo-doo-doo. Okay. So at this time, like I said, we went to a PWI, and I guess every year, like, the school votes on who gets to perform at our Springfest.
I think they just picked it.
Oh, they just picked it?
I feel like they just picked it.
No, because I remember it was a campaign. It was Astor Rock
All right,
versus Drake.
Go ahead.
All right, so
I don't think how that happened.
Okay, all right. So this year we have student association, and it was this year was a lot of like people on the student association. We had John, we had Kimmy, we had AJ, we had Kazim, we had Mark. It was basically so it's like all of the student presidents from each freshman, sophomore, junior, they become student association, and they basically run the school and the social events, blah blah blah, say what goes, blah blah blah. So I knew, and I'll be so proud to say this, but I knew a Drake way before So Far Gone even came out. Like,
me too. Room for improvement. Like, we was out there. We was out there.
Like going to school upstate and being so close to Canada, he was already buzzing. You know what I'm saying? And this was before he was OVO, before he was Young Money. He was ATF. All Things Fresh, right? And it was like, I remember you and specifically Damo always talking about him like the whole year, and I'm like, that's when Closer to My Dreams was actually big, and it was like the sample he did from Guapale, and I just remember everybody talking. I'm like, who is this guy? And I'm like, oh sure, I remember him from Degrassi. I remember he had a song with Trey Songz didn't go too well. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm familiar with him, but I didn't know he was thing. But you guys were in tune, and then we wanted him to perform because So Far Gone came out and everybody was getting hit to his music, at least upstate. And being at a PWI, also I Love College was also big, that everybody loved. White, blacks, Hispanics, whoever, Asians. So when it got to the point of who we wanted, it was out of Drake and Astor Rock, because like I said, that was one of the biggest songs, like we in college, but Drake was popping. So it was a race war on that campus, okay? Because we wanted Drake, and of course, other people of other cultures wanted Astor Roth. So it would be like big posters everywhere in the school. Everybody had to vote, and Drake, of course, ultimately won, and that was crazy. Like, I think that was my first time resale was a thing for me. Like, people, because, all right, so when it's our school, we get tickets for $1. So we got to see Drake for 99 cents plus a penny, okay? We got to see Drake for $1. So a lot of people was getting tickets and reselling them. It was just pandemonium. That's the word. It was pandemonium.
I bought my first Louis belt off of that.
Mind you, I still got pictures on my Facebook. It's hidden now, but Drake with his old nose. You know what I'm saying? Drake with his old self. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not his old nose.
Yes, pre-surgery Drake I have pictures of. And it was just, even like Taja, I think, fell in love with Drake at that moment because of that. She was a big OVO Drake fan. And I think it's a little bit special for us because we got to witness it started with us. He always shout out Buffalo, never ducking low. He always shout out the Galleria, and I just want to get into that. Like, how did that happen? How did that start it? And did you see that it would have such an impact today?
Well, I would say, to go with what you said before, we had a black student association.
Yeah, student association.
But there was a few white people on SA still.
Right, that is true.
And the main one, the person that was in charge of the event specifically, was a white guy.
Chris Malik.
No,
right?
Not even Chris Malik. It was a kid, CJ.
Oh, CJ. I thought you meant like Chris Malik because he was like head, But I forgot.
CJ.
Ooh, I forgot about CJ. And he kind of switched on us.
CJ, I bet he did.
But I tell you, he co-switched because he was the guy that everybody was cool with, and he was the cool white guy when this happened.
He was alright.
You saw the ratness come out, honey. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about it. We got different perspectives. I love it. Yes.
I'll never forget CJ. I'm almost sure CJ will never forget me.
Yes.
Yeah. But CJ, because the thing is, CJ was in charge of special events or events at Daemen. But the thing is, a lot of student association stuff was just titles. That you don't really have that much power. They just want to put the students to feel like they're doing something.
He was kind of like the teacher's pet of the administrators on campus.
I bet he was. Mm-hmm. So, Daemen was always had the smaller acts. Like you had UB that had Nas and freaking Buff State that had like Rick Ross. You know what I mean? We never had nobody.
Right.
So actually, we were supposed to have. That's why I said they didn't vote. They normally just picked the person. They normally picked the person, and we supposed to have the Blue Man's group that year.
Really? I thought it was extra wrong.
No, we supposed to have the Blue Man's group. The niggas that were in all blue that played the instruments that you've seen the commercials from back in the day.
I know for sure it was extra.
I'm telling you, this is what happened.
Okay,
we were supposed to have the Blue Man's group on God. That's what we were supposed to. I went to Chris Mallett. Now I had to start reaching out to Drake. I started reaching out to his people. I'm like, yo, Chris. I'm saying, who we got for Springfest? What if I get somebody else? He's like, you get somebody else, cool. But this is what we got right now. We got the Blue Man's group coming. So I don't know what you're gonna do, John. I'm like, I reached out to Drake's people, hit up everybody, wasn't hearing nothing. Then all of a sudden I start getting all this hit back from everybody, saying different prices, but nonetheless within the price range of what they had allocated. So I went to Chris Mallett. I got Drake, this kid coming up from Toronto, right? That's buzzing on the underground scene. I think we can get him. He's like, okay, how much? Told him how much. We started negotiating contracts, and then CJ felt the type of way like I was stepping on his toes. But I'm like, Nick, you wasn't doing nothing. You didn't even care.
Right, and also too, I know now it's more ethnic people on campus than before. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I mean, not many nonetheless.
Right, it's still not many, but I feel like it started to grow each year. Like
yeah,
I feel like each year more and more people, black people and brown people started to come to campus. So
I feel like CJ was just cruising anyway. So you was gonna let the Blue Man group come. You had to do much. All you had to do was just be like, all right, whatever. But because I started negotiating the contract for Drake with Chris Mallett, and it was about to go through, he felt the type of way. So he went to Chris like, look, and Chris had a conversation with me and him. I think Mark was there too at that time, and he was like, "What if I get Asher Roth?"
Oh, okay. So I'm not bugging, but it wasn't him.
It wasn't him. He like, okay, so what if I get Asher Roth? And Chris Mallett was like, well, John's already in talks with Drake about. He like, well, what if I get out different options? And that's when Chris Mallett went and got help with different options because CJ went and got Asher Roth. And then we had to put out a poll because we was already talking to Drake.
When I tell you the
like,
race
who
war,
you
the
wanted.
poll, aka the race war,
yeah,
okay?
It was Drake, Asher Roth, what's the boy? DJ Jazzy Jeff, which Chris Mallett threw in there from who, and then somebody else.
Just so it can be fair. Everybody got a person. Like, no, just let it be Drake because this man wasn't doing nothing. Now he wanted to step out because he see the black boy
trying to do something.
Right.
I'm like,
see how symbolic that is? It's just a cycle of life.
And I think people started getting hype about Drake. The buzz started going around, and he really felt the type of way.
Whoa.
To the point where he saw me now, he looking down. I'm like, I didn't even do nothing to you. You pissing me off.
Right.
I'm like, I got this drink ready to go. Chris like, John, we got to make it fair. We got to put it to a vote. I'm like, all right, well, I'm a whole promoter. So I'm going to go around putting flyers up, make a whole Facebook group. We're pushing for Drake. We're going to get Drake. And I'm going to get it one way or another. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. We got to see what we can do. Now, the good thing is the white people are familiar with Degrassi.
Right.
So you just got to promote a certain type of way.
Exactly.
They're like, wheelchair Jimmy?
That's what also helps.
And they're like,
it's
all right.
Like he connected with...
Exactly. Oh. Then, like you said, so far going dry. Everybody getting familiar. They're like, oh, we can get wheelchair Jimmy to pull up. So it became a race war. And ultimately, Drake won. We had to really fight and push for that. But he definitely felt the way because he was pushed for After All.
Right.
And I'm like, bro.
The crazy thing, I still got my So Far Gone CD.
Oh, shit.
Mind you, he gave everybody samples of So Far Gone. Like, so I still got that.
That's one of the posters. That's the only thing I had.
Wow.
When Jillian did the posters and everything like that.
Yeah, shout out to
him. I got my first Louis bit off them resales. Like, that was the dollar you sell them joints for like 60 joints.
I was, oh my God, just even thinking about it, I just feel so proud because I felt like also too, Daemen was the small school of the campuses. It was probably like it was a whole bunch of colleges that was neighboring. We had Canisius, we had University at Buffalo, which was a big university that was more
had money.
Nationally known. Then we had Buff State, which is everybody know because it's more of the black students, black and brown students. And then it's Daemen. So we coming up in the game of getting our notoriety in Buffalo.
And we had the biggest, and I say they had the money to get, they had the Nas's, they had the Rick Rosses.
All the big acts, so we pulled Drake. So when I tell
that's the biggest artist in the past 20 years.
I'm going to connect some photos at the end of this video so you guys can see just how it was and how packed our little social room was. And everybody, that's the video I have where I think it's one of your pictures because SRK actually like took the photos and stuff, and it's like I had I brought my sister's red Sony digital camera up to school. And I got in trouble for that. But
I'm about to say, I feel like you stole that.
But you know, I had my red Sony camera taking pictures, and this one where everybody is like a side aerial view, and everybody is like this with their cameras, not even their phones, their cameras.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to post the pictures.
And that was the biggest drink that we did. That's what like you said.
It was like one and done because we.
Yeah, it's like
I remember we had Ron Browns after that, but it was like, I feel like because, you know, sometimes I watch some of your interviews or some of the clips that's on the reels, and it's like they bring that up, but I feel like I wanted to get into the root of it because I was there. So this is even a whole different exclusive thing where other people act, you know. So I feel like I just wanted to give everybody the real backstory of that, you know, because
I found out a whole lot. I mean, you got it listed, but I found out a whole lot about that I didn't know before either.
Yeah. we gonna get into that because our next topic kind of stems into that, which is you and On the Radar. Wait, hold on. I kind of peeped if I want to bring it up, but show them your come a little bit over. Like I see you with the merch on. Hold on, with the On the Radar merch. Yes,
I love right here.
Yes, you got the merch on representing. So that goes into the next segment that I wanted to talk about, which is you and On the Radar. Because Drake was also
on the radar.
Yeah. He was with Central Cee.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about before Drake, even like how you landed that job. How did that come about? Because I know even before Drake, you guys were the company that actually broke Ice Spice, right? So you know, you guys have a lot of not just under your belt. So tell me, how did On the Radar come about?
I'll say Gabe started On the Radar 2018. And I was working at Sony Music 2019. So a friend of mine introduced me to him, just like on some, you should get to know this person, blah, 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 blah. She did PR for Same Plate Entertainment.
Okay.
Which is a JV underneath Sony Music. So she's like, you should get to know him. All right. And one of the people that like we were working was Marlon Craft. So Marlon Craft he was a white rapper from Hell's Kitchen. Okay. He had a show at SOB's. So I met Gabe at SOB's one night just because off the whim she said I should meet him and talk to him. So we chopping it up. And I'm like, oh, this kid can really talk. Like, Gabe's a talker. Okay. So I'm like, okay. So we ended up talking for most of the show instead of watching it, honestly. And we just kind of was clicked up from there.
Okay.
Pardon me. We followed each other on Instagram and just kept in touch, honestly.
Got it. Okay.
Then everybody know 2020 happened, and he was just doing interviews on Zoom, and everybody was just trying to keep themselves afloat. He was heavy doing the drill scene stuff, like rapping, interviews and freestyles. So I just pulled up on him one time. We was chit chatting, and this one Griselda just started popping.
Got it.
So you know Rick Hyde. Ricky was running around with Griselda and everybody like that, and Derek D-Star, who actually managed one of the opening acts that was for the Drake show. Remember we had like a few opening acts?
Yeah.
So one of the rappers, G5GI, D-Star manages, and he worked directly, and D-Star worked directly with Griselda.
These names are bringing up so much memories.
And it's all connected.
Wow. Yes, everything is full circle.
So
I love it.
Between Billy Esco, Rick Hyde, D-Star, you know, I had a connection there with Griselda.
Buffalo, right, exactly.
So me and Gabe was just in the studio chopping it up one time. He went to kind of like get into more some rappy rap stuff. And we were just talking about Benny the Butcher, Griselda, Westside Gun. And his eyes opened up. And he like, John, you know them? I was like, I got connection to them, yeah. He was like, you think we can get them up here? I'm like, yeah, but me being like, I'm thinking they're so niche in Buffalo, right? Cause I mean, they had just come out with a Revolt documentary that my man shot. And I'm like, you know them? He was like,
right,
yeah.
Exactly.
I think me like, you know them?
Right, exactly.
He like, yeah, he was into that scene, that underground hip hop scene. So I'm like, alright. So we started booking some of those guys. And that's how I started off with like the art relationship part of on OTR.
Got it.
So I started having him book artists for the most part.
Nice. So then that was like, you see how just Buffalo is just always at the root. You know what I'm saying? It's like that was the gateway for you kind of being dependable for, you know, so
for
that
that.
they can know, oh yeah, okay, this guy could pull through for On the Radar. You was even working there yet, right?
I was just helping on me.
Exactly, and also too, that's a good point, because it's like, I feel like we're in the everywhere, like people feel like, oh yeah, I gotta do something for something. Like if I'm giving you this, I need payment, or I need this. But you see how like you just doing that just because just to help out,
but
and how
honestly,
they got you.
It's just all organic. It just came full circle. Like that moment, it was organic. Cause that's my man's. He's like, all right, he's building something. He's asking me to help him branch out. Like I know he's the drill stuff. I know he saw a cap on it. You know, a lot of them getting locked up or killed.
Right, and it's like we need other avenues, you know.
And Gabe not really built like in that street life. He's very much like Switzerland, calm.
Right.
Like so, he's like, yo, you think we can get them? I'm like, and it's funny. Hyde was just up here that around that same week. So I was in his hotel room when he came up because I go to Griselda's show at SOBs again, and we were just chopping up. He's like, yo, there's some things to do. I'm out here, bro. And it's funny, I was walking home from Sony Music and I ran into him in the street. Him, Benny, Westside, just walking home under a skyscraper. I'm like, Ricky! He's like, yo!
Wow, love it. That's how I love it. Because you can bump into anybody. But even with Ricky
I'm like, what the fuck you out here for?
Exactly. Like, even with Ricky Hyde, I remember when he was in the group with Rashad.
Yup.
And now Rashad is like,
and
he's
D-Hill.
into the fashion. He's a professor now. Like, he's, you know, he got a class, and it's just amazing to see like how everybody's just blossoming. But
and even back then, the music used to go.
Yes, and they even performed at Daemen.
And they opened at Daemen, yo.
Yes, I remember them performing at open mic night like one time, and I was like, oh wow, that's how I kind of knew them.
And their music was good.
Rashad mostly, you know, I remember him for sure, but I know him and Ricky.
Yo.
You know. So it's just all.
And people keep forgetting D-Hill. D-Hill was it? That's Keita's brother.
Yes, D-Hill, the dark skin one, right? Yeah, but you know, I think he was just more like the graphic side.
Graphic, back. He rapped too, but he more like behind the scenes.
Okay, yeah, he was behind the scenes. It's kind of like Salt and Pepper, where like we knew Salt and Pepper, but
you got DJ Spinner up.
I was like, she was known, but she was like in the back, you know. So it's kind of like that. So yeah, I love that. But just at
everybody remember Rashad was the one that had all the energy. He like that.
They used to do this, and I was like, he used to be really like rock star punk, but gutter. I loved it. So even just to see how everybody is just, you know. So yeah, that's on the radar.
So Gabe wanted like Westside and all that. He really wanted Benny, and when Hyde came up, Benny came with him. I was like, yo, the homie pulling up. He got the boss man with him. And I think Benny was even at Dame one time for open mic night, but he would go back and forth to jail, so he really wasn't outside like that.
Right.
But freaking Hyde came in, Benny did his intro instead of Gabe introducing Hyde onto the show. So from there, we just kept booking people. We booked Eddie Keynes, we booked Billy Esco.
Billy Esco. I didn't know he was on the radar. I know Jay Skees was, but I didn't know. I didn't know Busy was. Wow, that's dope.
Well, they the ones that took the chance. Because talking about Skees was one of the first people I hit when Gabe wanted to help bring some people up. It's Skees, because it was such a drill platform considered. Skees like, yo, John, I don't think it's really my audience like that.
He's more like a J. Cole.
He like, I don't think they're going to respond well to this. I'm like, alright. High came, Esco came, Platform start building. He like, yo, John, he hit me this nigga hit me like, yo, why you ain't town? Like, no, we not doing that.
Right,
you gonna get me high.
Exactly, right.
We not doing that. Alright. But yeah, that's where it started. And then when we moved out of that space that we was in, we was running out of the area, the space we was in, to actually one of our partners. We moved to a new space. And to like kind of build on the brand, we just talking about doing a tour. In order to do a tour, you need money. So that's when I started doing the brand stuff. Like, all right, let's see if we can get some money. And I bought in one of our first biggest brands. Our first 6-figure deal was with Monster Energy.
Oh, that's why you always have those.
Yeah, Monster was sponsored by Monster.
Yeah, got it. Love it.
So that was our first 6-figure deal, and that was our first biggest deal early on. And just kept going from there. And then you mentioned Ice Spice. Ice Spice was at the old studio, and Ice Spice wasn't well known. She probably had like 1 or 2 songs out. Ice Spice came up there, blew up, got signed off of that.
Blew up.
Got signed. I told Gabe, that can't happen again. So I called him one day like, yo, how you feel about let's start a label? He's like, what you mean? He's like, John, I really don't know. We got time. I got time for the label. I can't focus on that. I'm like, you don't gotta focus on it. You ain't gotta do nothing. I'm gonna run the label. I'm head of the label. I just need your cosign because we're gonna use the name to brand it.
Right.
He's like, he called me back. He's like, you know, we won the label.
Now he wanted that. He ain't gotta do no work.
Yeah. He's like, let's do it. So we co-founded the label. It's me, Gabe, and we got two other partners. So it's 4 of us.
Okay.
And then we started a publishing company.
Love it, because that's important. That's what a lot of people be forgetting, and they really getting jerked. You know what I'm saying? That part you gotta own your publishing. That's imperative. So that's dope. Okay, that's good to know your story.
If you look now, a lot of the freestyles are on like streaming.
Right.
So we did that. Like even Ice Spice had to double back to get that. She wanted her joint. Yeah, like alright, we want her.
I own it now, so you gotta.
The first time we fucked up. The second time.
Now that you come back, we got our shit together. Our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. Okay.
And right now, we're building.
I love that. Okay, so we're gonna get into Drake. He was on there, and I feel like that's also what made y'all pop. Like, when him and Central Cee was on it, especially for me, because I used to see it around, but you know, I'm not in the music industry. I don't really know about these platforms. So for me, that was when I kind of, you know, I seen Ice Spice, and like I said, I've seen people rapping in front of the green background. Yeah. But I didn't really pay attention until Drake and Central Cee. So that's the context I mean. Like, you know, like I
would say that helped put a name to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like that kind of boosted y'all up a little bit. But before we get into that, I got a bone to pick with you.
There we go. Everybody got a bone to pick. Everybody got a bone to pick
with John. I will never forget. I called you, John. You like, hey, what's up, T? I'm like, John, I gotta ask you a question. And you driving, you on the road. And you like, I'm like, you know, I want to ask you about somebody. So you like, all right. Just to let you know, I'm on speaker. I mean, just to let you know you're on speaker. I'm like, all right.
Give you that warning, yeah.
I'm like, all right, who you in your car with? You like, Gabe. I'm like, damn, take me on speaker because he may or may not know who I'm talking about. You like, Gabe don't know nobody. Like, come on, like he not. He don't know. You like being mad. He don't know nobody. So I goes on trusting you. I go on to tell you who, you know, give you more clues, and you're not getting it.
I'm definitely not bad against the game.
Sometimes John is an idiot.
I be so in my own world. I'm like, yo, I got so much things going on up here.
I'm trying to give you all the freaking
I'm like, who are you talking about?
And it was good hints that you just was not getting. Just for Gabe to say who the person was.
He's like, bro, come on now. It's about that. I'm like,
and I'm like, bro, you said he not gonna know.
Nigga beat me to it.
Mad at you. I'm like, John, wow. But you know, I kept my cool stuff and kept talking. But I just want to tell you, like, you kind of got me with that one.
I told you he was on speakerphone, and not for nothing. If he didn't help me, I definitely was gonna get it. So good thing he was there.
I would have never knew, but yeah, I had to pull that bone with you before we get.
I was like, damn. I was gonna get that when I ain't gonna know that.
So back to On the Radar and Drake and Central Cee. How did that come about? Were you ready for how that thing blew up? Yes, oh my God, that was so over.
I'll say when Drake came to Daemen, caught us by surprise. All right, we knew he had a buzz, but you know with these things, you archive a buzz, but you don't really know how far the buzz is going to go.
Right.
We know that this is a big moment for us right now. And the cafeteria, whatever you want to call it, was full. All right, now let's see what happens after this. I hit Drake the next time, like probably like a month or two after, to see if I get him to come to like a party that we doing, like a walkthrough. That boy was $25,000.
Woo!
Okay, I ain't getting him again ever. Boom. Fast forward to OTR, Drake had that run. He was doing like 7 shows in New York. So we looked at the calendar. We were like, because he had hit our DMs.
Oh, okay. So he reached out to you.
He reached out to us.
Oh, love that.
In the DMs, he was like, yo, me and Seth finna come burn the joint down.
Like, did you guys have to like pay him, or he just
came?
Just
first of all, let's be clear. OTR paid nobody to come nowhere.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love that. Right, but also too, because I remember I'm like, yo, like let me get up there.
Yeah. Okay. No.
I really hit John up, like John, like let me get on the radio.
I'm like, do what?
He like do what, like. And he like, nah, like it's invitation only.
It's invitation only.
So, but Drake got a pass. But
Drake hit the DM, and Drake is Drake.
Right, Drake is Drake.
Drake is Drake. He like, me and Simple to come burn it down.
So let people know too, sorry. It is invitation only.
It is invite only. You can't pay to come up, and a lot of scams going around. So don't get scared. They talking about OTR $3,000 right now, and people are paying that price and not getting an address.
Right.
So be careful.
Right.
But nonetheless, yeah, he hit the DMs and went quiet for a little bit. So we like, oh,
nervous, like, oh no.
Yeah, he ain't
Mr. Krabs.
So then we like, we did looking like, if he gotta come this day because the only day he got off of the show.
Got it.
So he reached back out, was like, yo, I'm gonna put y'all in touch with management. I'm coming up there, blah, 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 blah. We were like, okay. So Gabe was like, John, this one's you, because he knew I had the connection back. Cause
right,
we all
let him know that story before. Mm-hmm.
So we all like, and not for nothing, I'm the oldest one there. So he like, you want this one?
You older than Gabe?
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Wow, you learn new things every day.
I'm like 8 years older than Gabe.
No way, because
Yeah.
I know your age. So this man is in his 20s.
Yeah, late 20s.
Wow!
Mm-hmm.
I would have.
He just looked older.
Because you know, son, he's Spanish. What is his?
He's Puerto Rican.
Puerto
Glad
Rican. You know they kind of get the facial hair early.
Yeah, he got the big beard.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
And he put the glasses on. He looked.
Yes.
He got sunglasses on. He looked older than when he got the
Yeah, he got a little chunky little baby face. Oh wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah,
So I knew he had to come at a certain day.
He had to come at a certain day. He wanted to be handled with care. So, and given the relationship that I had in the past with them, he's like, all right, let y'all handle this one. So he reached out to DMs. They got the contact number. He sent me the contact number, and we was talking to the president of OVO, Mr. Morgan, to help set everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Once everything was set up, that was it. Really, he just pulled up. He pulled. Security came. Then they walked through.
Right.
Outside, heard they closed down the block.
Wow.
Yeah, that boy moved like the president.
Move like the president, as he should. He is who he is.
And then Sense came, Drake came, the team came. And it's funny because you see people that you seen like 10 years ago.
Wow.
That don't even know that you seen them for real.
Right.
So when he came in, I had the original poster from the joint, and I framed it
from the Springfest.
From the Springfest, and I framed it. Gabe like, what is that? I'm like, just trust me.
Exactly.
Just
like,
trust
you don't
me.
know about this.
Just trust me. So we shot some BTS, and then he came in, and it was still on the couch waiting for him. Right? So everybody started calling me because I was in there talking to Mr. Morgan about some business. They're like, John. So I came in there and I presented it to him. He like, yo, this is crazy. How you get this? I'm like, that was my show. Like the whole team, Daemen College, the one that you be rapping about, the niggas that in the emails harassing y'all, that was me.
Right.
And he started telling me things about the show I ain't know.
Wow.
I didn't know that apparently there's a Daemen College in New York.
City?
Yeah, it's a Jewish school.
Oh.
They almost missed the show because they were driving to Brooklyn.
Oh my God.
They were driving to Brooklyn, and I guess
No
like,
way.
oh God.
Wait, hold on.
I think it was like either 40 or Chubbs or somebody said, yo, we going to the wrong spot. So they had to turn around and come back to Buffalo.
Wow.
I don't know how far they got.
Let me tell you, Brooklyn to Buffalo is at least 8 hours if you driving. If
It's
you
6 to
nice
8
with
hours,
it,
yep.
6 to 6.5. If you nice with it,
I do that shit
okay?
in 6.
So, right, you get there in 6.
I do that shit in 6 hours.
Right, I remember that time I drove over with y'all in the Kia and it rained.
Yeah.
Crazy, but right, 6 hours at least.
Yeah, so they ended up doubling back and made it time for sound check, and then left again. I don't know where he went, but I'm here harassing him. Yo, where y'all at? Come back. We ready to go. Joint full, but he came back. But they almost missed the show. They was on their way to Brooklyn.
That's crazy.
So he was there telling me that story. And he was like, and I seen his brother. I seen a bunch of people that was there that day. And I'm like, yo, Future the Prince. Chubb, I'm like, I'm reconnecting with all these guys.
Right, because even
they
back
telling me
then,
stories.
you're just seeing them, and it's just like, cause,
Yeah, you hear them in the music, so when you see them in person, like, all right, cool. But you see them again, like, oh, y'all different now.
Right, they just say, I got the coin now.
And he like, yo, he said, John, you got any pictures from that night? And I'm like, nigga, I got all the pictures.
You already had it set
I
up
got
on your
everything.
phone.
I sent that nigga everything.
Yes.
He like, send it to me. I sent him everything. He started posting it that night when he left the studio.
Yes, and I was also proud, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wow, he shouted you out at one of his shows.
Yeah.
Which was dope as hell.
Here in New York. And freaking, I didn't even know because I didn't go to that show.
Right.
So now I should have asked nigga for tickets. I was like,
My no, he should have gave you some OGP. anything.
Yeah,
Like, I came on the radar. I ain't kick out. I ain't getting that shit.
Other thing, but I ain't gonna lie. After that, they helped me down.
Right.
But Mr. Morgan, they sent me the video and everything. Like, yo, you seen this? I'm like, nah. What happened? I don't know what's happening.
Yes, he stopped the music and told the story.
I shot this freestyle yesterday with Central Cee, right? And it was a guy there. It was a guy at the shoot. He came up to me. He handed me like a framed flyer, and he was like, "Hey, I wanted to give this to you. This was from one of your first shows when you performed at Daemen College in Buffalo, New York, right?" And he was like, "I probably got like $1,000 or $2,000 for that show. I performed in like a lunchroom. I came out to a song called Congratulations. I don't even know if I remember that song. But I was just thinking, like, it's so wild that each and every one of you have allowed me to be here in Brooklyn with you tonight after all that. I was performing in the lunchroom like I was serving out trays. Like, it was a legit lunchroom. I'm talking about Daemen College. I remember doing SUNY Purchase. I don't know if y'all know what SUNY Purchase is. I remember doing SOBs. It's been a wild ride.
Every time you do something, I never know till it happens. Like, he did the Daemen College shout out in the last project, that certified little boy. I ain't know. I think I saw it on your page first. Either you or Mark was on y'all pages first. I'm like, what's happening? Yes. What's going on? Because everybody tagged me. I'm like, and I'm not hearing the song. I'm just seeing the thing. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but it's cool.
Right.
And then I listen to the song like, oh, that's what am I talking about? oh shit, why didn't I say nothing?
Right.
But when he did that, the team sent it to me. They're like, oh shit. I didn't know he gonna do that. The shout out. I'm like, yo, make sure y'all take the photo with you. They got all that.
Right.
They started posting it that night. I'm like, this is big. This is crazy.
I wonder how Chris Malik felt. Like, I wonder if
Chris Malik was the one that threw my name out. Because JV was there.
He's still at Daemen?
No.
Oh, okay.
Chris Malik left, I think, the year before that. Honestly.
Oh, okay, wow.
And the lady that basically took Chris Malik's spot was a black lady.
Ooh, nice.
So
nice.
They called Chris Malik to find out about this. He was there.
So
he wrote the check.
He wrote the check, which I know the number. Yeah. It's cheap, so we got a good deal. You know what I'm saying?
So Chris Malik was the one that said, I can't speak on this for real because all I really did was write the check. John's the one that did this, that, and the third.
Got it.
And that's how my name came about, for real.
Got it.
And then everybody started posting things, and Daemen saw it.
And then everything
and then the interview came along.
Gotcha.
So that's when everybody started reaching out to me for an interview, and I told them everything that happened, and that's what happened.
I love that.
Chris Malik was the one that said, I can't take no credit for that. So shout out to Chris Malik. He wrote the check.
Shout out to Chris Malik, because, you know, I feel like because you was working straight with him, and he was like, listen, I can get Drake. He, you know, said your name.
He's like, all I gotta do is pay for it.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, that's cool.
Nice, okay.
But they reached out to Chris Malik first. He the one that's like,
Chris Malik.
Yeah, shout out to Chris Malik.
Nice, shout out to Chris Malik. That was my dude. I used to actually work at the student
desk.
I used to work at the desk with him, so he was like my boy. So shout outs to him. Okay, so we're gonna move on from On the Radar. I feel like that's like a big part of you now because you're still in that role.
And I can still get tickets now.
Shout outs to you know what I'm saying? So love that. So the next topic I do want to talk about is just the music industry as a whole. I feel like you're in it, right? You have On the Radar Records. There's a lot of stuff going on in the music industry.
How you know?
The internet, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, right? So it's just a lot going on. So I just want to know, like, with all the buzz and all the rumors and all of the stories, true or not true, how do you guys kind of, number one, keep your mental health, you know, at a place where it's like, okay, let me come out, let me come back in, let me get grounded. Also, how do you guys keep your integrity? Because I feel like a lot of the labels, you know, we knew some shady stuff was going on back in the day, but we didn't know. So now a lot of stuff is coming out. We know a lot of artists didn't get paid. We know there's documentaries on, you know, life stories and stuff. How do you guys keep your integrity, and how do you guys keep staying in this climate?
I mean, I would say I'm fortunate enough to be surrounded by a bunch of people that ain't a bunch of creep niggas.
Ooh, love it.
Like, so a lot of stuff that happened back then, I think a lot, I give certain, I'm not even grace, I'm not gonna say I give you grace, but it's like, they were running around young, wild, with a whole lot of money. So when you're young, you're running around with a whole lot of money, you popping champagne, you got this, that, in the car. It's like you feel like you're invincible. Mm-hmm. You feel like you can do whatever the fuck you want, and you can.
Right.
And integrity gets compromised when you feel like there's no limitations to you. Mm-hmm. I've been fortunate enough, I guess you could say, in my career where I have my ups, I have my downs. I don't ever feel like I'm invincible. Because I'm like, all right, this can all change at a drop of a dime.
Right,
a blink of an eye. So I like to just keep people around me that, one, like I keep my friends close to me, like Drew or whatever, my family, everybody, because I'm like, they'll remind you who you are real quick.
Oh, I love that.
You know
Community is definitely, like I said, important.
Important. I feel like a lot of people get to a certain space where, all right, in this business, you moving so fast, it's hard to sit down and have dinner with your mother. It's hard to take certain phone calls from people that you used to see every day. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that, when you don't have time for that, you get wrapped up with these people who just...
They really ain't got your back.
They ain't got your really interest
right.
in this, that, third. And if shit goes left, they take you down with them. You know what I'm saying? And with that, I don't know, bro. Just keep the right people around you. And as far as artist-wise, like one of our business partners is very independent, successful artist who's had his fair share of transgressions in the industry. So it's like doing fair deals that not only work out for us, but work out for the artists. You know what I mean? Like I said, prime example, we post things on DSPs. We split things between the artist, OTR, and the producer. Where like a label, when they post things, it's only going to the label.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I love that. Shout out to y'all. Yes, that's dope.
We try to make it fair.
Make sure everybody get what they deserve.
Right. And even then, sometimes it gets dicey because people be wild and they work more than they are.
Right.
But like, all right, business is business still.
Right, exactly.
But
we still coming up in the game at the same time, you know, and we trying to do the right thing. So.
That's it. You try to do the right thing to a certain extent that maintains good business practices. And a lot of people in this industry are predatory, and they'll just take advantage of you for on my dollar. But honestly, if you know the landscape and you know how to make a dollar in the landscape, like all right, we have a production company, we have a record label, we have a publishing company, we're about to start streaming. Like there's always could be money around. You just have to know how to capitalize with it, so that way you're not forced to do creep
stay
stuff.
there. Right, you gotta do a little something strange for a piece of chicken.
Oh Lord.
You really gotta, you can keep it just business. Okay, so you could say, basically, to sum that up, you basically keep people around who know you that could kind of just bring you back to life, and also you could vent to and things like that. Because y'all don't know nobody. I ain't got to worry about this getting back to somebody else.
And the thing is, like you said, even with me and you, we've been through different stages of our life, different stories. Like you got people who meet you where you at right now and think they know you.
Right.
But you don't know me, fam.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I don't know you.
You don't know me.
Big person. And oh my God, because I be feeling like that. Like you don't know me in this stage. I'm like, bro, there's so many.
You ain't see me when I was down.
Layers. You could peel a banana, and I'm like that. I'm like the actual banana, and the skin is the other layers of me. Like you could peel
me back.
Peel no more. So, oh my God, I love that, because I definitely could relate to that statement. Like, people think you know you because they know you.
They think you know, you don't know me. So I keep around people who actually know, people I grew up with from when I was in the sandbox, people who see me 10 years ago when I was in this person, when I'm that person, like, and see me grown to the person I am today.
Right, and even that could be reversed. People who knew you all these years or knew you then think you still that person.
I'm not
you know
that
what
person.
I'm saying? And it's like, you know me, but you know me in 2008. You know me in 2010. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a whole grown up. I'm not a teenager. I'm not a young adult. And so it's like, that could be versus people who.
It's funny, because I was talking to my ex at one time.
Really?
I'm like, you know me at this stage of my life. I'm not the same person I was when I was 16. I'm not the same person I was when I was 21. I'm not the same person I am at 30.
Right, and it's like, people who can't be like, who look at you like, I'm still Tamika.
But because that person still got the same mindset when you're 21. Like, thinking I'm still acting the same way.
Right,
like,
so that could also be reversed. And what Drake said, if you know me, that means there was a new me. What that line is?
I know what you're going with it.
Because I mean, if you know me, you don't.
You don't know me.
You don't know me. You know what I'm saying?
But if you grew with me, then you might know me.
Exactly. And that's why listen, no matter what friends group I form, no matter, I still have my people. I still keep Liz around. I still keep Sweetie around, Peaches around, Erica, even y'all, you know, Franny, MJ, Mark, and no matter what, it's y'all been there from like
the
right,
youth.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like just to have those people who know me, who support me, who love me, who pour into me all the time, like that is just super important.
Yeah.
We're not even keeping them around. It's just more so we still family, we still sisters,
together.
we still siblings, we still just one big family. And I really just cherish my whole Buffalo era at a different level. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we was by ourselves. Me for 6 years, because I stayed in Buffalo actually 2 years.
Me too.
You know, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we were one of the ones that stood around. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that era is where I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Young, because some people figure it out at 26, 25, but I feel like we had the advantage of moving away from home and just figuring it out and not being able to call sister, brother, or not being able to call mommy and daddy and just figure life out. I thank God for that experience, because I also just feel like it helped me in major ways when I see people who didn't get the chance to move away from home or go to college, and I'm like, I just see the difference. You know what I'm saying? It's like, y'all, you know, so I'm just so thankful.
I'm thankful because, like you said, it helped grow you. Buffalo helped grow us.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was just I just love Buffalo. Shout out to the 716. Shout out to the 716. Big part of my journey. I even started doing hair. Hair Chronicles was born. It was born in Buffalo. It was raised in NYC. Born in 716, but raised in 718. So
people like, why keep going back to Buffalo? Like, that's my second home. Like, you understand?
You go back there. Not me, but I go back there for kind of life events. But yeah, you go there a lot. So this last part of the segment is basically where I ask each guest to give the viewers advice. And I basically want you to give advice on just never giving up. I think that's good. I feel like we could talk about the music industry, we could give advice on everything, but just never giving up, because I feel like you kind of had that fire in you since you were a young adult, and it has brought you so far to the point where, like, even this, I feel like I was a guest. You had a podcast before, Cool Stoop Kids podcast, and I was a guest on your podcast, and now you're a guest on my YouTube.
Right.
So it's just a whole bunch of, even with the artists coming on the radar, just a whole bunch of full circle moments for you. So what is your advice on just staying the course and never giving up even when the road gets tough?
I mean, I think you got one, know yourself. Know thyself. I feel like I'm very self-aware and conscious of who I am.
Big part of it.
So it's like, I could give up, but what am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, this happens to fall into my relationships too, because people, you know what I mean, with this music thing, it's ups, it's downs. Like you said, you gotta stay the course. You gotta know where you're going. You gotta see a vision for yourself. You gotta know how to utilize your contacts. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like, what you want me to do? Go drive a bus? I could do that, but I wouldn't be happy. What you want me to do? Go work for the...
Wait, hold on. What? Don't cut it off. I just want to say, it's so funny because you drive a bus.
Yeah.
The videographer drive a bus and he's doing something else that kind of fulfills him a little bit more. So even this right here is even powerful that you even chose that.
Right.
You know.
And that's fine.
It gives balance.
It's valid.
Right, it's valid. That's how the universe just works.
But even my brother-in-law, he worked for the MTA, but he's fulfilled. He's valid. Because he gets to go home, have a steady check, and know he's feeding his family every night. He got 3 kids. You know what I mean? And that's okay. I just know I couldn't be happy doing it. Right. Because the way my brain works, I'm always looking for the next thing to fulfill me.
Right.
Like they say, that's a true vision of entrepreneur. Once you hinder something, like one reason I moved on from party promoting, I felt the cap. Like, all right, I did what I want to do. I became the biggest. I served my purpose. Now I need more. Now I need something else. If I was driving a bus, I'm like, it's a daily routine. Right? There's no place for me to feed my spirit, to grow in it. Unless you're gonna own the, I don't know,
bus company.
Oh no, I mean you go to like administrative, like the people at the top.
But, right, so that way you can grow.
Yeah,
as far as like it's just
it's a steady salary, and I know, all right, I can do this and maintain a steady salary, or I can do this and make more money than I ever dreamed of. But just know, it's a scary road down that road. You go down that road.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's going to be times where I done had $3.20 in my bank account before.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And I'm like, shit, what am I going to do?
Right.
I got to figure this out real quick. You know what I'm saying? So it's about knowing who you are, right? And knowing how you're going to be happy when it's all said and done. knowing that the road is not going to be easy and you're going to trip and fall and you're going to have to learn some things and figure some things out. Even now, like, I had a long journey in my career in the music industry, starting off as an intern, then working as an assistant, just to be where I'm at now. And a lot of people either doubted me. They said I was too loud. They said I was too quiet. They said, oh, something's a little off right now. You don't seem to be in the game. Cause sometimes your mind just not there. You're just doing autopilot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you just got to be like, all right, I know I have a purpose here. I've been doing this for how long? For me to stop now, it's like, for what? Why?
Right.
You know what I mean? I know I have a purpose. I know this is about to be, my journey is bigger than what it is right now.
Right.
And all I gotta do is stay the course to see where I'm going.
I love that. One thing I like to say is your location is not your final destination.
Nah.
You know? And I feel like oh my God, I'm about to tear up because I just love full circle moments, but even I recommended the book The Alchemist to you one time.
Yeah,
that's my favorite book.
Shout out to you. Get to that too. Yeah,
right, I get to you the book The Alchemist.
And that was one of my lowest moments.
Right, during one of your lowest moments. And I feel like that's one of the books that helped me so much because it's basically about a story about just keeping your faith and knowing that God is always working in your favor, no matter where you're going, no matter where He leads you to. It's always a place that's gonna lead you to some difficult journeys, but that's gonna build your character.
Yeah.
That's gonna help prepare you for what He's got for you. And I just feel like that just goes as the same sentiments of what you're trying to say. Like just keep the course, no matter where it takes you, because you just really have to believe in yourself, and that will take you farther than anything
else. And sometimes you might have to pivot.
Right.
But
True.
as long as the goal is the same, then you might be alright. Because I went from working for industries like companies like Atlantic Records, BET, Sony Music, to OTR, which is more entrepreneurial.
Right. And you worked at a radio station.
I worked
too.
at a radio station. I didn't do it all.
And I was, you know what I'm saying? So you definitely worked at every type of different thing that had to do with the music industry.
I'm more blessed now because even though the money is different, like you gotta eat what you kill. Like we not owned by like an Apple Music and nothing like that.
Still on the
we still independent, still coming up. Right now the music industry is weird where you've seen recently there's been massive layoffs. Like people that been in them buildings for 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, all lost their job because these big old mergers that's happening. I'm in a position I can't lose my job.
Right.
But at the same time, if I'm not working, I'm not eating.
Right. So it's still that.
You know what I'm saying?
Like double jeopardy, but you rather it this way, right? Because it's like you got control.
Yeah.
So you always got to put that work in so you could feed yourself and your family.
But also you also find time. The thing is, it becomes hard. You talk about mentally. Right. You also got to find a balance because I'm more of a person. I'll go, and be like, damn, I ain't eat today. I realize I ain't eat today.
Yeah.
I realize I ain't taken a vacation in a while. You know what I'm saying? So it be things like that. You got trying to find a balance, but just know it ain't easy.
Right. I love that advice. I even went into another story time, but I love that. Guys, this is the end of this segment of the Confessions of Hair Chronicles. John, thank you again for coming on. You're my second guest.
I got you. Whenever you call, you know I'm there.
Yes, I love you so much. And guys, that's a wrap. I'll see you next time. Bye.